Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. I pay a lot of attention to current events, domestic and global, consciously choosing to consume a balanced diet of news sources that lean left, lean right, and are in the middle. Even with trying to look at issues from both sides and be aware of my own biases, I still often find myself talking back loudly to news commentators, as I did recently in reaction to a cable news story segment on capitalists who cashed in on the pandemic and were responsible for the deaths of thousands of Americans. That got my attention. One such capitalist was Robert Stewart, who the commentator reported received $3.5 million in 2020 from a no-bid government contract to supply 6 million N95 masks to the VA. What followed was an interview with David McSwain, a reporter with ProPublica and author of a new book, Pandemic Inc., Chasing the Capitalists and Thieves Who Got Rich While We Got Sick. Having not read the book, I'm not criticizing McSwain's research or reporting. What made me angry was the way his title associates capitalists with thieves. Intrigued, I researched this story and discovered that Stewart never collected the $3.5 million because he never delivered any masks. He didn't even own a mask manufacturing plant. What he did was defraud the SBA of $805,000 in PPP loan money, the EIDL program of $261,000, and the VA of $74,000 in medical and educational benefits. None of these facts were reported in the cable news story. The story was right about one fact. Stewart was a thief. His story is not an example of capitalism gone wrong. It is about fraud and corruption, criminal offenses having nothing to do with capitalism. Behind the fraud, we don't find capitalism, we find greed. Greed and corruption are not tied to particular economic models. They're not tied to capitalism, it's not tied to socialism, not tied to communism. They are aspects of the human nature that have been with us since the beginning of the species. Whether people live under a capitalistic, socialistic, or communistic system, or in a Stone Age tribal group, greed is alive and well in all of them. Every human being experiences it in some way and on some level. It's been considered one of the 7 deadly sins since the early days of the Christian church. Selfishness and greed are found in all parts of society. So, we also find generosity. We also find altruism. All of these traits appear in some business owners and wealthy people, as well as low-income workers. Human nature, not an economic system, is what lies behind profiteering, cheating, and fraud, just as it lies behind giving and helping others. For this reason, capitalistic countries do not allow an anything-goes environment, but they operate with a level of government regulations, such as pure food and drug laws and oversight of financial institutions. If capitalism isn't working, it's often a result of government trying to over-control the production of goods and services through increased regulations. In essence, that's what communism is all about central control and planned economies. So this takes away one of the necessary components of capitalism, which is freedom and competition. So in Stewart's case, the primary problem was the government, during the urgency of the pandemic, doing an end round around getting competitive bids from thoroughly vetted suppliers. And I get it, it was a crisis and a pandemic. A true competitive marketplace, however, results in improved goods and services and lower prices. What capitalism provides in a way that no other economic system provides is a method of distributing limited resources and doing that in a very efficient manner. The dynamics of the free market and competition actually drive down prices and improve quality. Capitalism offers much more in opportunity than other economic systems to lift people up out of poverty. In order to flourish, capitalism requires freedom. In order to thrive in the long term, it also, as any successful business owner or other capitalist could testify, requires virtue and integrity. Thanks for listening.